So yeah, I want to ask you guys, what is the purpose of performance appraisal? Is it to just tell somebody who's the boss? What do you guys think? What's the purpose?
That's a good one.
Go ahead.
Progression and development, really, at least in
Very
my
nice.
world.
Very nice. What do other guys think? What
Get a
is the
different
purpose?
perspective on what you think your behavior is.
Right. So from organization standpoint, performance appraisal is really to figure out the placement, the promotions, whether they want to fire you or they want to continue paying you, right? And how much they should pay you. So this is exactly the real need organization is looking into doing performance appraisals. They want to influence behavior, as somebody said here, bring accountability, bring out some kind of coaching for you, right? I think those are the high level needs why organization is doing this. They want to look for your career opportunities, motivate you, and also one of the things that I've heard is they want to make sure you have a good relation with your supervisor. So those are the basic reasons why organizations kind of promote doing performance appraisal. What do you think is an individual wanting out of this whole exercise of performance appraisal?
Feedback.
What's that?
Feedback.
Feedback. Anything else?
Approval.
Exactly. What she said is one of the most important things. People want to know for psychological success. They want to know, what kind of thing I did, whether I did it right. They want this feedback, and it seems feedback is one of the very important things for self-development, and that's the reason why an individual really likes to do performance appraisal. There's one other thing. It kind of brings some kind of a reward as you're graded, kind of thing, right? So the reward is one of the critical things that individual really gets into for doing performance appraisal. Now it seems I was doing some research. I've done some articles I've read through for this purpose, and I can give you all the references if you need if you come by later. But it seems most often supervisors don't want to do performance appraisal, especially for the ones who are bad performers. There's really a big apprehension. They just don't want to do it, and it seems for the people who are performing well, they really want to do it. So that's some of the things I found in the research things. So if you're one of the person who's not performing well, your supervisor is likely saying, okay, I don't want to do this. I don't want to face this issue. They don't want to really face you. And what people do, most of the supervisors, either they skip the performance 90% of the time, or they give some kind of an oblique message when they're doing the performance appraisal. They'll say, they'll do some kind of small talk, unclear things. They don't want to blame you, right? They don't want to spoil relations with you. So that's a kind of escapism that I've seen. They don't come up and tell what really performance problems you have. They want to really escape from it. Many a times, performance is not judged correctly from most of these supervisors. One thing they miss out is kind of contextual issues. If you ask any individual, he's going to say he's a good performer. How many of you think you're a good performer? You see this? Almost 90% of people don't say they're good performers. And that's not really what happens. So everybody has a little bit more of what they think, of what they really are, is what they perceive themselves as, right? So that's one of the things. And if you ask a supervisor, if you are the supervisor, you'll always say if something doesn't go well, hey, it's because of this guy didn't do it right. That's what a supervisor immediately tries to blame somebody versus trying to find out there was a contextual issue. There was a problem, the market shifted, we had this issue, or there were changing requirements, whatever, right? Most of the time supervisors miss this thing. And that's why it's very critical for a supervisor to look into this and not give this oblique message, understand this properly, and look into the innovations that the person has done. 90% of the time, the research says supervisors miss the innovations the employee has brought in. The new things that he was trying to do. Maybe it's a failure, but he tried to do that. People miss on these things. So watch out if you are the supervisor. There's one other technique that people talked about is 360 feedback. Anybody heard of this? Do you guys believe in it?
Yeah.
So people kind of, ask the other managers, not your immediate manager, how you are, kind of, right? And a lot of people believe in it. I think I saw some hands, but many a times what happens is you're doing very specific work, and these guys don't even know what you're doing. 90% of the case, that's kind of thing can happen. And that's why this 360 feedback kind of fails. So there are a few things that you want to do. Make sure if you want to make this process work right. One thing is schedule your piece. Okay, when you want to do the performance appraisal, figure out the content of it. Define a process. You fill up a form in the January, mid-year checkpoint. Define the goals upfront in the January, and the end year evaluation. Now, there are certain appraisal techniques that people go through. One thing is tell self. If I'm the supervisor, I'm going to just tell you, hey, you have been graded performing this year, and this is the reason why, and then that's it. You don't give the chance the subordinate to respond back. The second technique is called tell and listen. You tell the grade and then say, okay, you tell me why you feel you got this. The third one is problem solving, wherein you go with an approach of saying, okay, I'm going to understand what happened with you. This is your grade anyways, but tell me what went wrong here, right? And then give him coaching. But one of the best things people say if you want to really go in is make sure you go with an open-minded. It's called a mixed mode. You go open-minded, you listen to the employee, and then figure out his problems, what problems he faced, and then go into a tell-listen model wherein, in the end you kind of tell his grade anyways, but you kind of listen and solve. The most critical thing that people say, if you want to make a performance appraisal effective, make sure that you solve the problem for the future. So find out what is not working for him, find out what can bring the motivation. Sometimes employees really are capable of doing things, but it's just that they are not motivated. So they have the ability, but they don't have the will. So in short, I want to bring this important thing for you guys. Performance appraisal as such is very well known to people, but there is a performance paradox. People can adjust to the system. You can find people who knows what makes the performance click. They're going to work through that. If talking makes sense with the boss, he's going to do that. So they are going to make the system, they're going to basically break the system. And you want to make sure that somebody doesn't trick the performance system and score high. Second thing is, remember the evaluation technique. I think 90% of the time you can use the evaluation technique using Toastmasters. The sandwich technique. You tell the good things, tell the meat of it in the center with all the negative feedback that you have, and then again the good points. And most important thing, believe in solving the problem. If you're the supervisor, make sure what is causing the problem. Most often, everybody has capability.